Say what? Look.
It's the new OGs. The new OGs is a State Madison Entertainment production and is brought to you by Solar Masters. Look, Illinois is changing how people get their electricity, and Solar Masters is helping homeowners in Illinois take advantage of a program that lets them get solar power at no cost. If you're a single-family homeowner in the state of Illinois, you can lower your electric bill, raise the value of your home, and do something good for the environment without paying a single dollar out of your pocket to do so. In fact, Solar Masters can only work with you if they can save you money. Solar Masters is black-owned and a SunPower dealer, an American panel maker with over 30 years of solar experience. They even have a referral program that pays out as much as $500 per referral. So head over to www.gosolarmasters.com and get in contact for a free consultation.
Hey!
Yes, sir. Yes, XL. How you doing, bud?
Hey, how you doing, man?
Good, man.
Hey, we're back in the little portal thing.
We're in portals again, but I'm in the studio.
I want to make sure you're in the studio.
Yeah.
Everybody's in the studio. But anyway, I want to make sure that you told the people everything right.
Right.
So you said that everyday people.
If you own a home.
You go solar.
Yep.
They can save money on their bills every month.
Absolutely.
And by doing this, they can do something to help the little animals and the trees and the sky and the waters and all that stuff.
And also people. Right, yeah.
Well, people don't like helping people, but people like helping animals.
Right. Yeah, it'll be good for your dog.
And by doing this, if they don't do it, say they don't do it, but
right.
they tell somebody else, and somebody else tells you that they told them,
right?
And then they do it,
right?
They get $500.
$500 every time. Yep. Up to $20K, no tax.
Man, that's better than the Milwaukee Bucks defense. Did you see that shit? They held Kevin Durant and Kyrie Irving to 83 points. That shit is amazing, my dude.
That defense is pretty dope. So is being able to have tickets for the game. And if you'd like to be able to afford tickets to go to a playoff game, get over to www.gosolarmasters.com. Get in contact for a free consultation. Order for somebody that you know. We are also brought to you by People of Comedy. Get over to People of Comedy. What's up, Rob? Why are you
I go ahead with the promo.
Okay.
We are right after that.
We are also brought to you by People of Comedy. Go to People of Comedy on Facebook. See all the great shows offered there. Check in daily as they have new, fresh podcasts you can watch and listen to wherever you listen to pods. I'm in the studio today with James Webb on the board. Everybody else is where their locations are. XO is at a Bucks game, right? Secret black bunkers throughout the world. This is where everybody is right now. What's going on? What's going on, everybody? How are you doing? X,
I'm doing good. And I usually would do my OG thing, but I think we got a point of order. Real quick.
Go ahead.
You gonna wait till it comes to you?
You gonna hold on to it?
He's gonna load it up.
I just was amazed by the beauty at which that assist took place. You dig what I'm saying? It was not only an amazing assist, however, it was a metaphor for which it was a metaphor. What? That was amazing, dude.
Thank you, man. I appreciate it. I appreciate it. We gotta stay sharp, man. That's why I gotta do the podcast every week so I can keep that sharp. What you got going on, X, man? How was your week? What's your OG moment? What's got you moving?
I'm gonna say this real quick. I did not notice the vanity of being in the portals. We were in the portals so long that I stopped noticing it, but after being in the studio for 1 week, I am now looking at the live play and I see myself in the portal and I'm like primping and shit to make sure I'm like
I know
right
that part.
So
that
weird.
part everybody sees. You know, we also
I know.
We also all see you fucking.
Yeah, I know. But I didn't do that when I was sitting next to you. That's what I mean. Like, anyway, my OG moment was affording tickets to a Bucks playoff game. But actually,
thank you, stimulus package.
I didn't afford shit. Keep it at 100. It was fan of the show, my buddy Mick. Shout out to Mick.
Mick loves shout
outs.
He really does. And he's a season ticket holder. He's a ex-teammate of mine from college. We graduated from St. Joe's together, and we played ball together for 3 years. And he's one of my best buddies on the planet. And he has tickets. He's like, "Hey man, come up and watch the game." And it was fucking fun. By the way, the Milwaukee Bucks stadium is
it's great,
Milwaukee's
right?
a full-fledged city now. Like I always consider Milwaukee like a 90-minute away suburb of Chicago,
Right?
Because it looked like Laverne and Shirley until like 10 years ago,
Right?
It looked the same way. If you watch an episode of Laverne and Shirley, Milwaukee looked like that in like 2008.
Oh, that's actually very true. They are in a big recovery period right now. They're reforming a lot.
They spent a fuck ton on downtown, and their downtown is sick. If you at the end of the show, I tell you where you can find me at. If you go to my IG page or my Snapchat or my Twitch, you will see a bunch of footage from the playoff game last night and the square that they have, and it's super dope.
Yeah, it's a great spot. Yeah, it's one of those places where they really encourage like before and after the game for you to just stick around on the same. Like they have a bunch of restaurants and shit that are all like on the same campus as the stadium, so you literally can walk 50 steps and you're at a place to get food.
When you walk out of the stadium, when you walk out of the stadium by the main entrance, it doesn't feel like you walked out of the stadium. It just feels like you walked into a different part of the park.
Right? Yeah.
And also for free, they have a giant screen right outside the stadium, like 4 stories high or some shit like that. I don't know how big it is. I'm probably exaggerating, but it's huge.
Yeah.
And you can watch the game for free and drink beers and shit just like it's a bar or whatever, which is both brilliant and super dope. Cool. Like I'm not a Bucks fan, I'm a Bulls fan. But Bulls aren't in the playoffs. And
right. And tickets were available.
Yeah, and he's trying to convert me. He's like, they make it to the next round, we probably go to another game, and I'm like, I'm into it. So I need these niggas to rally.
I feel that. What's going on with you, Rob? How you doing, man?
Hey, man. I just wanted to extend last week's fuck you to Bobby.
Water's still working for you?
It's still working, Bobby. I was so mad that I just didn't weigh myself again. I had already lost 2 pounds like 2 days after we talked.
Right.
I had lost 2. I was like, this is gonna be another 4-pound week, and I just don't want them to be right again. So I didn't weigh myself.
But you're still drinking the water anyway, though.
But I'm still drinking the water.
That part, you're like, well, this does work, so I'm not gonna stop.
Yeah, it's working, so I gotta keep doing it. Yeah, that's exactly what it was. And my actual OG moment is when I realized that even people who are our allies sometimes don't really understand the situation.
Man,
And even if you tell them, they still don't get it, right? Like it's like, and then when you hear somebody, then you hear them come to their conclusion of what you told them 5 years ago. You like, yeah, they all got it.
Yeah, you are right about that, man. I dealt with some of that same stuff this week. I posted a picture that was a collection of like 8 snippets from dating profiles, where someone spelled out in a bunch of words that don't actually equate to monogamy, that they were trying to explain they were monogamous, right? Like on a dating profile, people writing shit like, not looking for one night stands, friends with benefits, no open, no poly shit, no, using insulting terminology towards non-traditional relationships, but also like a lot of things that just mean monogamous, right? So I posted a collection of 8 of them, and I just wrote, hey, y'all, just write monogamous. It's way less letters, even though it's a long word. It's way less letters than all this shit you're writing. And also it keeps you from looking like, an asshole when it comes to relationship orientation.
Also, ladies and men, because I've seen men.
Everybody, and
like
any gender.
Like
yeah.
And so here's the deal. I'm sure that. Anyway, my point is this: the people who are actually polyamorous or whatever like that, if you put monogamous, they'll respect that. They're not going to try to. We're not evangelical. We're not out trying to convert people.
Yeah,
unless they like come and ask.
So here's the thing, like I posted it, and like for the most part, the people who are currently poly were like reacting greatly to it, right? Like I made a couple posts, they blew up in a couple different places, it was great. But then there were people that were trying to argue like that these people are just being clear about what they wanted, and it's just like, yeah, but that's not understanding the idea of someone, like the misunderstanding of saying I'm not looking for friends with benefits or casual or just like basic dating. That doesn't necessarily mean monogamous, right? Like that's as a poly person who likes to date and like I love, right? So like I'm fine with something that's like a quick thing, but that's not generally my goal, even as a non-monogamous person. So like those things are for someone who is monogamous saying that that's what they're looking for and thinking that that is enough to mean that being monogamous is wrong in the first place. But, and so it just blew up into this whole thing. And it brought me up to the reason why I'm bringing this up is because my moment of the week is that they did another study to see people's feelings on gay marriage. And, it's one of those things where when we were younger, 20 plus years ago,
unheard of.
30% of the people supported gay marriage in the country, right? Like
I'm surprised it's that
way
high.
less Republicans, whatever. Now it's at like 70+%. And, it's one of those things where like once they approved gay marriage, everybody kind of stopped giving a fuck about gay, like support for, like people stopped giving a fuck about whether somebody was gay or not.
There are some people, believe it or not, there are some people who function in the world where if the government says it's okay, well, it's not my business anymore.
Right.
But if the government says it's not okay, well, the government says you can't do that. So,
right.
And they have a problem with it. Like, they wouldn't put it that plainly. Well, some might, but that's just what it is. Like, once it's legal, like, there's a bunch of people who didn't want weed to be legal, but as soon as weed got legal, oh, well, fuck it. It's legal now. I'm going to smoke. What? You was against it. but it's legal now.
That is a real thing. That's a real thing. Yeah. But it's, it just makes me.
I was never against it being legal. I just didn't want them people in my business.
It just makes me look forward to the idea that, at some point, the reason why I stick to my guns when I talk about non-monogamy or polyamory or open relationships or non-traditional relationships is because I'm trying to push that idea that it's not, like you said, we're not evangelical. Like I'm not. It's not like I wasn't upset that people were posting that. I wasn't like, oh, I wish you weren't monogamous. It was just, here's a better idea and a saner way to express something. So A, you're actually being honest about what you're looking for, and B, I don't feel like I'm being kind of insulted when you're calling it that poly shit or that crap, right? Like,
yeah. Also, here's a tip for anybody who has a rebuttal to this. The asshole people who will lie or just trying to be players or whatever like that, they ignoring all your little, I don't want all this shit anyway. They're not looking at your post and going, oh, she says she doesn't want friends with benefits, so I'm not gonna try to fuck.
Yeah.
Those dudes are still gonna try to fuck and they're gonna lie.
When I see somebody write monogamous in their profile, I just go, oh, okay, not for me. Like it's super straightforward. But when I see somebody write a bunch of like phrases that are just like not particular to any type of relationship, I'm just like, I don't know what this means. That is not. There's no clarity here.
I don't use dating sites anymore, but when I did,
look at this guy.
I put poly up there. No, I stopped using them. I didn't. That has nothing to do with the girlfriend thing. I stopped using them before the girlfriend thing.
No, I'm saying.
Yeah. Here's the thing. I said this joke on stage.
The women just come to me in public, y'all. I don't really have to.
I said this joke on stage, but I really do believe this kind of deep down. I think a woman who, I don't think I'm a hideous person, but I think a woman who would look at my giant ass on an app and all they know about me is what I put on that app and that I'm huge, and they pick that like, yeah, I want to ride that ride. That bitch is crazy, right? Like, you don't know anything about my personality. I'm a monster. I'm a huge monster of a person. Like, you should know that I'm also kind and gentle and caring and shit like that. But to not know that and pick me, you want me to beat up an ex or some shit like that? I don't want that shit.
You don't want to ride in and be the shining white knight here to save the day?
Yeah. You got some. Yeah, that bitch got some, like, she got some ex-boyfriend or big brother or something that she's like trying to intimidate.
Traumatized.
Or she's just a size queen. And I mean, I'm not that I'm against that, but it's a weird.
It's not you don't want to be fetishized, right? You don't want to be fetishized.
There it is.
Yeah, man, it's a weird world where you're trying to, like, people have such a hard time just being honest about what they're looking for. You know what I mean? That, like, when you try and present an opportunity for them to be honest about what the deal is, they people push back against it.
It's funny.
I guess it's not really important why they do it as much as it is that they do it.
Right.
But I don't know. For me, when I look at it, I'm like, I was a homophobe at one point. I was a homophobe because somebody told me.
I think we all were to some degree. Because, like, even though I never had a problem with people being gay, I said stupid shit and did stupid shit when I was younger because that was the culture.
No one in the era was telling you not to do that.
I mean, there were whole movies. There were whole movies that had characters that or characters that dropped the F-bomb.
Yeah.
As much as like George Jefferson dropped N-bombs.
Well, you're always looking for a chance to like improve, and we've had a chance to improve that. Biden has taken his first chance to improve that. He is over at the G7 summit right now, and it's a marked change from the last G7 summit that was going on. If you remember, the last G7 summit with Trump was that one where they had that famous picture where he was sitting there like a spoiled kid, and all the other leaders were like. They were all looking like they were going to tell somebody's parents when their parents got there. That's that's what it looked like to me. It looked like they were like, we're going to tell somebody's parents exactly what's going on when they get back here. But obviously, all these people know Biden because they were all still running their countries pretty much when he was a vice president. They're all still pretty much the same people. They're over there doing their thing.
A little bit interesting, but that's something we don't talk about in America because we're used to changing every 4 to 8 years.
Right.
But like Angela Merkel has been prime minister in Germany or whatever, chancellor, I think is her title. She's been chancellor for a long ass time.
She's been there for a while.
The only one that's kind of new is old boy in England. He came in with Trump, but he's still there and Trump gone. And that nigga chilling. Yeah. They came in at the same time. As a matter of fact, he came in before Trump.
I think they have parliamentary systems.
He came in 6 months before Trump. Yeah, I understand. I'm just saying our change of power is a unique thing that we don't recognize as actually really, really cool that we do that. We change power over very regularly, and even the more forward progressive countries of Europe don't even do it as much as we do. Yeah,
Israel has a weird system. They do a weird thing about getting their government in order, but I don't know how, it's like...
It's kind of like parliament in England, but you form a coalition government of so like it would be like if the progressives separated from the Dems and every now and then agreed with QAnon fucking.
By the way, this is why aliens don't fuck with us because they come down here and they look like they're like there's like 7,000 different types of government going on down here and they're all garbage. They're all all these people suck and all the shit they trying to run sucks.
One of the original like the core of the QAnon. Also, is that same like one world government type mentality conspiracy?
Where we go, where we go.
Yeah, and people are always like, they're going to start the one world government, and I was always like, why is that a bad plan? Like think about it. Like why would one government over everybody? Like. And we got a government. Everybody.
It's impossible, dude. That's too much. That's too much.
I know it's impossible.
It's too much to run. It's too trying to meet the needs of 7 billion people in a way that works for everybody over the course of like the entire planet.
But here's what
the ability to manage people doesn't operate that way.
They operate just like states. But Mississippi is very different than Illinois.
Yeah, but then in that case, what you're basically describing is kind of how we act now. All the multilateral shit that they try and do between different major countries, like essentially that is what's going on. Is there's a version of that where they're like it's essentially a world run by council where the strongest countries are the heads of the council, and then they are approached by lesser heads of council, which are the smaller countries that don't have as much power, on down the road to the littlest countries that need all the help, and that is essentially how the world works already.
Yeah, but the one world government would cease war in regards that even though they both have technically,
not necessarily.
Alabama's not going to invade Florida.
No, but the police and the people are at war. You know what I mean? There's terrorism going on in all these places because oppression doesn't stop just because you decide you've got one government.
Oh, I didn't say what oppression was going to stop.
I mean, what do you think war? What do you think war? You know what I mean? Like, you think that because we decide on one monetary unit for the whole world to work off of, that there's not going to be wars over poverty and finance and
they ain't gonna never
land
let no stuff like that happen. They have to have a vehicle to allow the rest of the world to know that you're not them.
Yeah.
You understand what I'm saying? And so they're never going to let that happen. There's never if you said that to any of them, you think that happened in January was a big deal. No, it would happen in the middle of the street. They are not going to allow anything like that to ever happen where they got to answer to somebody other than who they are. It ain't gonna work. It ain't gonna
Wait,
happen.
wait. Did the People Coming Network almost just cut us off with this?
No.
I thought I just heard the theme song.
The live show opened on my phone from the start.
I was like, damn, this is the first time we ever talked about this one world government shit. James is cutting us off. Illuminati. Oh, shit.
Yeah, a little fairness behind the scenes. So like, I try and manipulate a lot of shit behind the scenes while I'm doing the show without looking very fiercely. And now that I'm in the studio, some of the controls are different. So like, I'm going to try and share the show on my own page on Facebook while we're having this conversation and pay attention and be ready with the next thing. And for some reason, the volume on my phone was turned way the fuck up. So it's not the Illuminati.
I do that every week.
That is how this shit gets.
Do that every week.
It was the timing on that shit was crazy because I just heard I hear the theme song coming up in the headphones. I'm like, nigga, the show just started. What are we doing?
Yeah, they came for us, dog. It's over. It's a wrap for us. That's it. Start packing your bags. They know where you are. We were in the bunkers, but they know where we are. Get the fuck out.
Black helicopter.
I just want to revisit the whole idea of of all the governments sucking. There are some governments that are doing just fine. You dig? Yeah. Those governments generally have a hybrid of both capitalism and socialism.
Yeah, the ones that have the good. Now France has been all over the place. They've got a lot of revolt from the public over some of the hiring practices. There's a lot of shit with racism that goes on there. One of the crazy things before the G7 summit was Emmanuel Macron got smacked in the face by a supporter. That was a thing that happened. There's in the clip I have, there is video of that. I don't know if we're able to post it with this crazy setup we've got going on with all of us in different places. But yeah, he was like greeting public. First, I see X is barely keeping it together over there.
God, bro.
This dude laughed so hard you have smoke coming out of your nose. This might be your cry for help.
I was laughing at I was about to say, if you see the way the guy smacked Macron, it was in the most French way possible. It's not even a smack. It's a, oh.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. He smacked him like he was in the 1400s about to ask him to a duel. That's what was going on.
Yes.
So we got the video. The video's playing now, and the dude, he's like, oh, yes, come over here. Let me talk to you. Macron. Waka.
Actually, from that angle, I didn't see it from that angle. From that angle, it looked a little more fierce. But if you see it from the backside,
no,
it's not as hard as it was.
His security detail is fired, right? There's no way you allow.
All those dudes are gone. All those dudes are unemployed. Unless he said, no, I want to go touch the
First of all, no man with a beard and hair like that is coming up to tell you how much he supports what the fuck you doing, Emmanuel Macron. That nobody looking like that. That dude is, he's at Antifa meetings. That dude is not.
They not gonna fire him. They're not gonna fire him. No, they gonna give him the shittiest job chasing down counterfeit 50s and shit somewhere on the south side.
Right, yeah.
The south side of France.
Yeah, the south side of France.
Whatever
the hood is in France.
Yeah, wherever the shitty part of France is.
Yeah, he gonna be working on that shit.
Where they put that homie Lupin from the Netflix show? That's wherever he had to grow up. That's where. That's where they sticking it. Biden is actually, it's a weird thing that we're dealing with right now because we're dealing with the situation here in this country where, the odds of Democrats holding power looks dim for the next year, which is odd because like this dude waited to be president for 350 years, right? Like this guy has been waiting to be a president since America became a country, right? Like this guy, like he was one of the guys who voted for George Washington to be president, and he's been waiting around all this time to get his shot, and he's like just kind of like playing Joe Cool in the background, like we'll see how it comes, man. Maybe we'll get a couple things done.
Here's the only thing I can think makes sense.
He's planning to die in this motherfucker?
No. There's a bunch of stuff that he can do executive order. Like he can do the student loan thing executive order.
Right.
He could do a couple other things I can't think of off the top of my head. Executive order.
How many payments he trying to get out of people before he does that shit?
No. This is what I think he's doing. I think he's forcing, he's pushing. He's like, hey, I'm trying to work with these guys. And then when they fuck up and don't do anything, and then they go to start campaigning and they ain't got shit, the Republicans don't have anything to campaign on, then he can just start going, executive order, bam, executive order, bam, executive order, bam, and cut. Hey, if he does student debt alone.
But see, here's the thing: is why would you wait? Why would you wait to do something that would create an impact that people could be benefiting from for a period of time long enough to really see it before an election?
Because Joe Manchin is a racist dick.
No, it's not. It's not that Joe Manchin is a racist dick. He could do it by executive order. Like, if you can cancel student debt by executive order, then do it. What are you waiting to? Who are you waiting to show this to?
What would he gain from it, though? What would he and the Democrats gain from it?
That's what
reelection. Reelection. Here's the thing:
if you do it now, I don't think it happens. I don't think people forget. Motherfuckers already forget.
You'd be seeing the result, though. Like in your check, you'd be seeing a result. You'd be seeing it. If you wait until then to do it, then it's like, all right, you canceled, but I don't see that yet.
Bobby, these motherfuckers gave us a stimulus check, and they're putting $300 per kid in people's in families' homes per month. I think is it per week or per month? I can't remember.
Per month,
but per month.
Maybe it's 300 a week. I don't know.
They're doing that, and people are already like, "What else you gonna do, Democrats?" And that was just 3 months ago. They did that. Like, people forget. He has to do that shit closer to the election. If he's going to do it by executive order, he has to do it in 2022.
No, here's the thing. That's not really it. That's what they telling us. I'm just
guessing that.
That's not, well, yeah, that's the impression they want to give you as the insider. As the person who pays attention to these things, that's the impression that they want to give you. But the fact of the matter is, they don't. That's what they telling you. But they, just like Bobby said, once you start getting money every month, you gonna know. You know, and
not only that, but jobs. Like push an infrastructure bill through that gets done, and put people. Like if people are working, then they have a period of time in which to enjoy these spoils, right? If you really believe that the shit you were going to do would be good, and you weren't actually beholden to corporations instead, then you would just do the shit because you believed in it. You wouldn't sit there waiting on shit for the right time. You go, if they really believed that the Democratic way would be the way to get shit done, and they believed in the policies they were pushing, they would find a way to work around this filibuster bullshit and get the shit done that needs to get done, and go, listen, like,
they already have,
because they're not in power right now. They're not in power.
Joe Manchin is in power right now, and I don't know.
Joe Manchin is a shield. Joe Manchin is a shield for other moderate Democrats that don't want to have to be put in. Like, the reason why Joe Manchin can be in the position he's in is because he has got support in West Virginia, and there is no primary challenge in West Virginia. And what he does is he acts as a blockade for the other moderate Democrats who then don't get asked. Who are they? Who else are they asking? They're not even asking Kristen Sinema, and she's another person who's claiming it, and it does her no benefit in Arizona. The other dude in Arizona that's a senator who's a Democrat is way more popular than she is because of this bullshit that she keeps talking about saving the filibuster. Like, people in Arizona don't want to save the filibuster. They don't want that shit. The shit she's talking.
People in West Virginia don't want it either.
But people in West Virginia, but there is nobody in West Virginia who's going to run against this dude that the Democrats want. And so what he does is
Democrats don't go after the governor.
But what he does is he acts as a buffer for moderate Democrats who don't want to have to answer the question themselves, because they don't want to have to vote a certain way and then have to deal with their constituents back home. They don't have to come out and say, well, I also got to tell you I'm against the filibuster. I'm against getting rid of the filibuster too. So Joe Manchin acts as a guard, so they don't ever. So like these other senators in places that could be in trouble or could get primaried by somebody, they don't ever have to fucking deal with it. And Joe Manchin don't got to go nowhere. Nobody's coming for Joe Manchin.
And all of that leads back to the Koch brothers again. Because
and groups like those, right? Like groups like those that are, they're not pro-Trump people. They're not pro-Trump people.
They're pro-dark money.
They're anti-union people. That's for sure. They want to keep wages down And Joe Manchin's never going to vote for an increase in the minimum wage. There's never going to be a bill that's going to get passed that's going to get that done. That's all Coke. That's all Coke and alikes. Coke and alike people. One thing they couldn't get done is keep the Keystone Pipeline. That got canceled.
I was just about to say oil. Yeah.
That was one of the things that they were trying to keep running. The Keystone Pipeline has been canceled. They tried to push this whole idea that they were going to cost so many people jobs for it. What it comes down to is about, I think it's like a staff of an Arby's is basically what it is. It's like 50 people or something. You know what I mean? Like you need less employees at a Payless shoe source. I think that's not even including management. You could run a whole Payless shoe source on like 15 people. I think I ran a restaurant in LA with 15 people. That's
I worked at Payless. And it was only 3 people on the floor at any given
right. Yeah, exactly.
How you think you pay less?
Right?
Because they working motherfuckers like crazy.
And it's one of those things that they're going to point to in the administration, be like, "See, we did a thing," and it's fine. I'll let them have it, but it's not where it's got to go. You know what I mean? They're still not backing the people they need to back. Like Ilhan Omar came out. And she basically was just talking about, like, you know, crime shit should be investigated everywhere, right? She was like, whether it's, you know, Hamas or whether it's Palestine, whether it's fucking the U.S. or Israel. And people lost their fucking mind because they claimed that she was equating the U.S. with Hamas. But, like, to be fair, we have droned a wedding before. You know what I mean? Like,
Man, look,
I mean, we have droned a wedding or 2. You know what I mean? Like,
that is the funniest part of the whole political theater. It's like, well, again, how did this whole thing start? Do we want to start there? Like, or is that like never happened? Like, you know,
right?
I'm sorry, Rob. I'm sorry. I hate any kind of nationalistic shit. I hate when Americans act like America doesn't fuck up. Like, I live here knowing that around the world we're assholes. I can't remember. It doesn't matter. We're the assholes at the party, but we're also paying for most of the party, and other people need to be our friend because otherwise they wouldn't eat. And so we are the biggest asshole at the party, but we're also the guys who everybody's trying to kiss their ass. And I don't know how long that shit's gonna keep lasting for us, man. Like, I feel like China's taking over Africa, and between China and India, just the sheer number of people and their ability to fucking expand markets and shit. I don't know how much longer we gonna keep being this superpower. Like, we keep acting like we get to be Superman forever. I think there's an expiration date on that shit.
Well, you end up really pushing against concepts of autocracy when you start getting into that realm, because the more you get concerned about maintaining power and staying in the lead, the more, you know, part of the concern is, you know, burning out America from the inside, right? And so the more the country gets concerned about that, the more sketchy they get about letting immigrants have roles in power, the more autocratic they get, the more nationalistic they get, the more open to fascistic things they become. I mean, that's kind of where we're at right now, right? Where it's like, if a couple people wake up and decide to do a different thing a few months ago, we're on a Trump second term. It's literally 20,000 people in one state and 10,000 apiece in 2 others made the difference. That's the entire difference between whether we had something that is like still struggling and fighting. You know, there's no guarantee this dude ain't gonna be the president again in 4 years, or, you know, actually getting something done. And I think, you know, the problem still goes, like, this is the problem that the U.S. has, though, is like this whole fight that the right, you were talking about how the right isn't going to do anything, but the right's argument going into the next thing is going to be all about culture war shit. It's going to be critical race theory shit. It's going to be stuff like that. And, you know, that is where they go when it's time to try and get into one of these things. And it just leads back to this whole issue of the U.S. is unwilling to look at its past and go, you know, we kind of fucked up back there, and we got to admit it, and we got to tell y'all we did it. And even though obviously there's no like way to like just, there's no, it's a priceless commodity to try and tell you like what exactly it would be to make it necessarily like even square. We're gonna do better at trying to be fair from here on out. Like, even that would be a step, but they're unwilling to do that when it comes to slavery here. They're unwilling to do that when it comes to international shit that we do. We always got a reason when we go and drop a drone bomb on somebody. You know what I mean? We always
The weird thing is the motherfuckers that are so nationalistic and don't ever want to say anything negative about America always back the most corrupt motherfuckers. Like these are the people who supported Nixon, who think Nixon got a raw deal. Like these motherfuckers love Ronald Reagan racist ass. You know what I'm saying? Fucking George Bush Sr. was the only honest motherfucker amongst them. And them motherfuckers crucified him because he made them pay a little bit more in taxes.
Yeah.
And he wasn't even an honest motherfucker. He was a shady, dirty bastard too. But I'm saying compared to the rest of the Republicans, that like when let me be clear, because I said something. When I say honest motherfucker, I mean amongst them. Like amongst that group, that nigga was the nicest one.
The nicest Komodo dragon you'd ever meet. It was the
right. I'm saying
he was house trained.
I'm not saying they're lizard people. I want to be clear. I'm not saying they're lizard people. Okay.
I am. No, I'm just kidding.
What were you saying, Rob?
If I remember right, wasn't he the director of the CIA or some shit?
He was under.
Oh yeah, the OSS, which became the CIA.
Come on, man. He was where the rubber meet the road. He done murdered all type of motherfuckers for breakfast and shit. He was probably the worst of them all. But he was polite. You don't get to be the head of the CIA. CIA deal with the whole fucking world. And they execute policy for the United States for the world. The CIA director is one of the worst human beings on the fucking planet because he has to be.
Yep. Yeah.
I didn't know. You know, one of the main directives of the CIA is to do stuff in a fashion that the president doesn't know about.
Oh yeah, they have to. So he's not. So partially, so he's not responsible about it. This is
culpable deniability, plausible deniability.
This kind of leads into one of the things that I want to talk about was that I had this section I had in our production notes is spies like us, because there's been a number of things that have been uncovered about just like conversations and tapping and data that's been going on. So Biden's Department of Justice came out and they said that they vow to stop spying on journalists months after placing gag order on the New York Times, which is, obviously the first part of this is an admission that they're going to be, that they were spying on journalists, right? Like
that they were still doing the shit.
Like, I love how the casual part of this is like, yeah, by the way, we have been spying on y'all.
But we gonna stop though.
Give me your babies. Give me your baby.
Yeah, their children. They were spying on. They were spying on that shit. There's a whole. It is a wild deal that we talk about freedom, and one of the big things that they talk about in this concern about China is how China's got cameras everywhere. China's got cameras everywhere, and they're always watching, and the government is always keeping tabs on who's doing what. And then a story comes out that's like, by the way, the Department of Justice says they're not going to spy on journalists anymore. And it's like, well, what's the difference? Tell me there's a difference between, what are you talking about? That's the same shit. How's that different?
Let me tell you what the difference is. Okay,
yeah.
Here's where the difference lies. In capitalism, I ain't got to see everywhere you go. I know where the money go.
Right.
So since I ain't got to watch you, I make sure you can't make no money. Mm-hmm. If you make too much money in a little bit of time, I need to know how you doing it.
Yeah. They're coming with the IRS. The IRS is gonna cop that. That's how it's going down. Also, when it comes to some data that was seized, the Trump Department of Justice, which was back when Trump was office, it came out that they had been seizing House Democrats' data from Apple, including data on their children. So like Adam Schiff and all those guys, they were seizing data from Apple, which, by the way, is not what you're supposed to do. It's not like that's like a chill move or like, that's not normal practice, right? The Department of Justice does not normally seek out data from a corporation, right, that is not a part of the government, right? Apple is not. it's not the Federation of Apple. That's
yeah. And the fact that man, like
the Apple Fed.
Well, I mean that it completely makes sense because that's the fucking Trump. That's his plan. That's what he does. Like with Hillary, it was Bill. He just kept hitting her with Bill shit. He hit Hillary on some shit, but most of the shit he hit her on was Bill. Like he brought the women who said Bill assaulted her, them to fucking one of the debates.
Paula Jones.
Things. Yeah. I thought he had 2 or 3 of them. But anyway, my point is that's his whole game plan. So he's setting up the GOP. Man, the GOP is just filthy all around, man. it's one. I don't give a fuck about somebody's political ideology. I don't give a fuck about it. But when, like right now, I don't know if I can't remember if this is in the notes or not. Are we going to talk about the IRS problem that they have?
I don't think so. No, I didn't have it in here.
Okay, I'm just going to wrap up a quick thing about it. They every GOP party, state party, has like money missing that they have a thing with the Trump Victory PAC. That
really?
Each one of them has like a couple $100,000 that they can't explain that passed between them and the Trump Victory PAC. And all of them, it's like a pattern. It's all the same pattern. And they turned the shit into the IRS, and the IRS caught the shit. And
who turned it in though? Was it the?
It was like their
they were doing their tax reporting.
But the shit caught it, and it was a pattern. So they was like, "Hey, well, none of you motherfuckers did this." So they all made corrections. But when you make a correction to something like that, you're supposed to explain why you like how it got fucked up. Was it just an accounting error, or was it like?
Did somebody do some shit?
But the fact that all of them had it the same fucking thing, it was different amounts, but it was basically the same.
They'll have different accountants, I'm sure.
Yeah. Like clearly there was some kind of coercion, some type of thing going on here. And they can't explain. They moved the money, but they still can't explain like where the fuck it came from or who got it. And yeah, all of them. It's all 50 of the motherfucking state GOP party with Trump victory thing. Like these motherfuckers are just filthy through and through. At this point, I am starting to believe that there is a conspiracy amongst these motherfuckers to just straight up Civil War II electric.
Yeah, that's well. There's also this thing where he had these groups that raised all this money for him, right? Like they raised money in his name. They had this thing where if you clicked on it, it set you up for a recurring payment. It was something like that was going on where they tricked people into that shit.
It automatically did recurring payment, and people wouldn't see that shit because it was. I think it was in small print too.
Of course. Yeah, they scam and it's consistent. The lies that come out about it, and then they get caught. The thing is that here's what they figured out: is they figured out that if you can lie long enough till it gets out of the news cycle, then when they finally catch the shit, it'll be way too late to even get there because like. CNN got a hold of this audio of Giuliani's phone call with the Ukrainian cat before the Trump call that ended up being the one that got him impeached the first time. So Giuliani was on a call with the dude from Ukraine before Trump got on the phone with him for the actual call. The call that was like the call heard around the world, right? The one that actually got the first impeachment, which was a thing. He was impeached twice. The first actual impeachment, the phone call that got that done, they got the audio that Giuliani had with the cat before Trump got on the phone with him.
Yeah, and I heard the shit, and Giuliani, like, this motherfucker, it's not even, there's no trade craft here. There's no like, this is straight muscle. Like,
there's no secret to what's going on. This is just...
Yeah, it's very clear. We need dirt on Biden. And the guy, I think, even asked, like, well, what are you talking about? Like, and it's like, whatever dirt. Like, what he did here is horrible. He made Ukraine look bad. He made the United States. And the dude has no idea what the fuck he's talking about.
Here's what he says. He goes, all we need from the president is to say, I'm going to put an honest prosecutor in charge. He's going to investigate and dig up the evidence that presently exists. And is there any other evidence about involvement of the 2016 election? And then the Biden thing has to be run out, which basically means he's got to like put out there that Biden is the one who's being investigated, right? Somebody in Ukraine's got to take that seriously, is what Giuliani told him. So
that's the thing that I it's always amazing to me. I'm just saying, this dude ain't never told you he was anything but what he is. He is doing his best to be a mobster.
Right.
They're making everybody pay up. And the amount of corruption that has went on in the government for the last 4 years has shaken it to the level that they can explain.
Yeah.
You dig what I'm saying? They can't explain this away. There's no more words you could say about this.
Yeah.
It is what it is. Now, they have been doing it for a while, but nobody was so bold as to do it right in front of you this way.
No shit. Some crazy shit that's gone on. So there was a whole again, getting into some Spies Like Us type shit that we've been talking about. There was a crazy drug ring that was going on, a whole bunch of drug rings that were doing all this wild shit all over the world. They jumped on this new encrypted platform they thought was going to be able to shield everything they had going on. They found a new one that was going to work, and that's been the hot things. Everybody's got to have these encrypted platforms. The thing they didn't realize is that the FBI had created this platform for a worldwide drug sting.
Yeah.
So literally now to me, and listen, I know that international drug rings are doing a lot of crazy shit, right? Sex trafficking, which is wrong, selling drugs that like are not what they're supposed to be, which is wrong, creating all types of violence, which is also wrong. But also I still think entrapment is wrong.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, you got to create a whole company that's the cops. You got to create the cops encrypted Wi-Fi network, not tell the people that are getting on it that you the cops. And then you're going to be like, surprise, we the cops. Like, that is the whole point of our arguments with Facebook and Apple giving over our data is that Apple is not the cops. That's the whole reason why I press the fucking, yeah, man, it's cool. You can have this data shit with Facebook is because Facebook is not cops. And when Facebook decides to become cops, I'm not on Facebook no more, okay?
I got a big problem with Facebook. Okay, I need to say something before I speak on this. My lawyer has advised me to say I am speaking hypothetically.
Right.
As a person, hypothetically, if for joke purposes only. Okay. Yeah, man. That shit scared the fuck out of me.
You were like, is it Signal? I hope they're not on Signal.
Which one was it, goddammit? Oh, no.
Yeah, that's the other thing is I don't think they even said which one it was.
Oh yeah, they did.
They did? Okay, good. They were like, all right, good. Oh, yeah.
No, it was some shit I had never seen before. But,
Anam. Yeah, I'm not fucking with that.
Shout out to the homie Shank Booty.
Shout out.
Shank Booty.
Because Shank Booty one time, I was using the encrypted app and I said, hey, we can speak freely. And Shank Booty said, I really don't think we can. And kept speaking in code. And from that point on, I was skeptical of those apps. So shout out again, Shank Booty.
Some other shit to be skeptical of, we were big on crypto is a big thing at the start of the year. It's been growing like, steadily. It's still pretty up there for a lot of stuff that's out there, but it's had a weird tie-in with some shit that's gone on. There's been a bunch of these ransomware attacks on companies in the U.S. McDonald's, I think, just got hit with one today, which is crazy because McDonald's is a big deal. But so are these, just because I don't know what even though I probably buy my meat from somebody that comes through JBS meat makers at some point or whatever, like JBS ain't on the commercials I'm watching, right? So like I don't know about all that shit. But here's
Bob Evans on your shit.
Yeah, it just says Bob Evans by the time it gets to me. But one of the things that happened is these guys that paid this ransomware, they paid it in Bitcoin, and the feds were able to fucking track it and recover a bunch of the Bitcoin money, which from what I understood was not how Bitcoin was supposed to work.
It's one of the reasons I never trusted the shit. Because I said someone was going to be able to hack the shit at some point. It's why I never trusted it.
It took a hit after that.
Into that shit.
It took a hit because they seized like $3 million that had already gone through on that transfer, which I think was most of the money they got paid in the ransom, which is...
The company still ended up losing money because Bitcoin dropped so much in value that the amount that they gave versus what they got back was like $2 million less, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah, but at least them dudes didn't get it. That's the way they thinking.
We're going back to cash.
It's an investment. It's an investment. So it's still, if they keep the Bitcoin could go back up. So, I mean, they technically haven't lost any.
Ransoms are going back to cash, baby. That's what I know is going on. It's ransom season in Chicago. The weather's great outside. Everybody's out in ransom.
But I'm still giving it love.
Chicago.
Best work.
Chicago and a number of other cities have opened up fully this weekend, so watch out for the vans because they're coming for you. No, it's wild, man. It's been a weird situation because you go to the grocery store now and you're just like, I can't really tell what's happening. There are people there's a lady who called up. I had a friend who told me that a lady called up her Costco and was like, you got to go back to making everybody wear masks because the vaccinated people are like releasing their vaccinations onto those of us who aren't vaccinated, and we don't want it. We don't want the slough off of the vaccination that's going on. X, you're on a show tonight. Is it supposed to be packed, or what's the deal? Are they at full capacity, or what's happening?
Yeah, it's supposed to be 100%.
It's everything's open, baby. It's open
It's
season.
Hey man, I actually
It's back to 2.5 hours to get down here again.
This morning, I walked into a gas station that had a sign that said, "If you're vaccinated, your mask is not required."
I mean, there's part of me that goes, well, what the fuck do we do all this for if we can't go walk into a place and take our mask? Like, the whole point was, to get back to not wearing masks, right? That was a...
I went to the game last night. I wore my mask from the time, they swiped my ticket to the seat, and I took my mask off at the seat because, basically everybody did.
Right.
And, again, what's the point of being vaccinated if I can't fucking go to the thing and take my mask off?
Yeah.
Why do I let them shoot this experimental shit into my body and turn me into a zombie?
I'm gonna get as many days out of this motherfucker as I can, right?
Yeah. Shit.
Yeah, I'm with you, man. I was
change my DNA for this bullshit without me go change my DNA and I can't take this mask off. Get the fuck out of here.
That is a concern. There's a lady who is in Ohio who's an anti-vaxxer nurse. She went up in front of real grown ass people in a microphone on camera and started yelling about concerns that hey, have you seen the videos? Have you seen the people who are now they have magnets and forks and spoons sticking to them?
And their vote counted.
Here, I think we got the clip. I think we got the clip. I think James is going to play the clip for us.
Talking about Dr. Tenpenny's testimony about magnetic vaccine crystals. So this is what I found out. So I have a key and a bobby pin here.
Oh my God!
Explain to me why the key sticks to me.
You see that? It's stuck on it.
There's no AC going on in that place. You can tell by the way her hair is laid down.
Lean back ass.
If somebody can explain this.
So there's her. There's another person who was speaking in front of people that started claiming about. She's like, "Have you seen the videos?"
But wait, Bobby. The funniest part of that one is this bitch is putting shit to her neck and it's falling off. And
she's surprised.
Right?
Oh shit! I thought it was.
This shit was sticking out.
When she got through, she go talk to them like domino bitches. Like, what we gonna do about this?
I'm gonna be honest. I'm kind of upset that I'm not magnetized. That just sounds amazing. You know how many times I would make all my cups and shit out of metal, and then when I needed some shit, I'd do that fucking force grab where I would just be like, "Come here, bitch," and then I'd be spilling shit everywhere because water doesn't give a fuck about magnets. Water's not just gonna stay in the cup.
Imagine how amazing that would be during sex. So vaccinated pussy, you could just pull her back and forth. Magnetized too. You ain't gotta.
Well, here's the deal though. You'd know if somebody was right for you or not because as you got close, you'd either bounce off of them or you'd fucking get up right close to him. I don't know if y'all caught this. I almost fell out this goddamn chair. But if you're magnetizing somebody else is magnetized, you'd either bounce. That's the whole thing. You'd solve attraction. It's man, this shit ain't making.
That's some useful shit. Some motherfuckers are acting like that's a bad. How is that bad? How is it bad? If it's true, that's a superpower.
Man, do I got my keys? Whoop, I got them.
Let me tell you why. Because as a white person, they were already perfect. So once you put some shit in there that changed them in any way,
they're upset about it.
Fuck them up.
Yeah, we are no longer the master race.
It still blows my mind that the master race can't go outside right now because it's too sunny.
Yeah, it's too hot. It's too hot for them.
Not too hot. It's too sunny.
Yeah, what's crazy
is
that
gives everything's life set them on fire, but they the master race. Okay, I'm sorry. Go on.
They'll fight against climate change measures, but they're the ones who are going to be most at jeopardy of the shit falling apart. You want to make the sun hotter? This is not a good idea for you. This is not a win. This is not a win. There's a hospital down in Houston actually where vaccinations are mandatory. and they have 178 employees who have not gotten vaccinated. And I remember when the dude was on TV, and he was basically like, listen, here's the deal. Like, just like all the other vaccinations, you got to get here. If you don't get it, you get suspended for a while, and then if you still don't get it, you fucking get let go. And there's 178 hospital workers who have now been suspended at this Texas hospital for not getting vaccinated. You either got to find a way to get yourself an exemption or a deferral for some reason, or you got to fucking get vaccinated. So I don't know how they're going to fill these jobs. Apparently there's a job shortage everywhere. But I don't know if you guys have it. You know, I am happy that there are companies, especially a hospital, which is probably a good place to make sure everybody's vaccinated.
It's a great place to make sure everybody's vaccinated.
Especially your employees who have to be in there and out of there every day. I don't think there's any problem with deciding that that's a good thing for your hospital to have. I don't know.
I was very happy to see that the
vaccine hesitancy that I had, I lost when I went back out in the world.
Right. Yeah.
Seeing all these people who hadn't done anything for themselves walking around like it was okay, and I was walking around amongst them, and my immune system is compromised, and I never got sick. Now they telling me I don't have as much immunity as anybody else, but I'm telling you I got something because I was around these people and they are equally, and not only are they nasty as they've always been, and I'm not saying everybody's nasty, I'm saying those who are nasty are very nasty, and not only have they nasty as they always been as a person, now they don't know how to be social anymore because they've been locked up for a year.
Yeah.
So they demand everything.
Yep. Yeah, it's interesting that you bring up vaccine hesitancy, too, because there was a film that was recently put out that was underhandedly aimed at the African-American community in regards to being an anti-vax film. There's some news that's come out about it. It turns out that the film was made by Robert Kennedy Jr., who is the worst of the Kennedys, despite all the crazy shit the Kennedys have done. This is actually the worst one of them. He is the head of some type of organization. It's called Children's Health Defense, and it's basically a total anti-vaxxer organization. But the film attempts to draw this line between real and disturbing histories of racism and atrocities done to black people in the medical field, and tries to claim that getting vaccinated is basically doing the same thing. But I'll be honest, like once they gave it to an English cat named William Shakespeare in England, like there's a dude, there's a real live white dude right now in England. I remember he was one of the first guys that got vaccinated right in England. They're like, this is William Shakespeare. He's one of the first Englishmen to get vaccinated. He's like 87 years old, and they gave him. And I was like, if they're gonna give this dude the shot, they for sure ain't.
Yeah.
If all they were showing were black people at the beginning, I'd have been like, I don't know about this. You know what I mean? But like,
it was like, hey, get a pack of Cools if you get the vaccine. Like,
it's like if you give me the same shot you giving white folk, then I'm probably gonna get the shot.
Black and Miles and a vaccine shot. I'm suspicious.
You know, two things.
It comes with Sprite.
Two things that put me over the top is when I found out vaccines in general was made by somebody from Africa. And then when I found out that it was a sister that worked on this one.
Yeah.
So I was like, well, they could be lying to me, but I don't think so.
So you made a decision on the vaccine the way you make decisions on watching TV shows? You're just like, are there any black people involved in this? Because if there's not, I don't want to
see it.
I'm good. I'm good on it. Hey, by the way, speaking of TV shows involving black people, I can segue too, Bobby.
Hey, look at you.
I just want to say one thing. Pause with Sam J. Watch it if you haven't.
Yeah.
It's fucking amazing.
It's great.
Fucking awesome.
It's also got people that we know on there.
That's why I was trying not to do that, because I didn't want people to think I had a biased reason for saying that.
It can be good, and it can have people we know. We're starting to get to that point in our careers.
People are cynical, and they will assume that because our friends and people we know are on it, that we are somehow.
I think that I used to believe.
I know
that
Sam
too.
J. So what?
I used to believe what you just said, but I realize now that it just is what it is. You know what I mean? Like they are excellent. They didn't get the job because they sucked. They got the job because they're.
I mean, the shit's on HBO. Shit.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And
the most recent episode is so Chicago heavy. Amy Shanker, Lisa Traeger,
nice.
Megan Gailey, somebody I'm forgetting. But yeah, at least those 3 are on there, and there's at least 1 or 2 more people. Best Stelling.
Oh yeah,
somebody else. Yeah, like all of those women are actually from places other than Chicago, but they have comedy roots here in Chicago.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, it's definitely some shit to check out. Yeah, and it's great that Chicago's open. The shows are going back. We've got, I know that Rob's been out performing. Actually, we've all been out doing our shit. I know James is out filming
I'm
shit.
rocking out tonight, tomorrow night, Tuesday night, and me and Rob and you have a show coming up on the 1st, and then I think me and Rob are on the 9th and the 10th now, right?
Yeah, I mean, yes. If that's what you want to do, because we'll talk about it. Yeah, I think we are on the 9th and the 10th. Yeah.
Well, nigga, I don't have to be on the 9th and the 10th. Fuck you. No, I'm just playing.
Some other shit I want to get to before we get out of here because we're getting close to the end. El Chapo's wife is going to be pleading guilty to helping run his drug ring, which is, I don't know why I guess they caught her, so I guess she's got to make a decision. But I'm like, why is this bitch trying to go to jail? What is she just doing? Hi, Mrs. Chapo, take me. You know what I mean? Like,
she's trying to get reality show dog. She's trying to fill that Kardashian void.
maybe she's trying to see if she's got escape skills that are as good as her man. You know what I mean? Like, how they gonna dig me?
I bet you women's prisons probably don't have the same level of security.
She just wants an underground
because of misogyny.
She just wants an underground tunnel. She's only 31, so that's a
damn.
Yeah, she's only 31. She's not going to get the type of time he got. She's just copping to do a couple things. She's probably getting a reduced deal out of just being like, yeah, I knew what was going on. I was into what was happening. Jeff Bezos is going to space. Unfortunately, he's not going to stay there.
You know what? I think he is. I think this is just a test run. I think this nigga's finna live on a space station to not pay taxes.
Somebody, I forget who it was that posted, but somebody posted Jeff Bezos going through a breakup by going off to space is the most obvious tell ever. This dude got divorced and was like,
bill gonna be ridiculous in space.
He's going with his brother, which is like a weird way to end your whole family lineage. You know what I mean? Like I got 2 sisters, and there's no way I'm just gonna put them all on a spaceship with me. That shit is, I don't trust all that. Like.
Oh yeah, a spaceship. Hey man. To that, I remember my uncle, one time I have a huge family, and our whole family was going to buy like a big package and go on a cruise together, like 70 people. And one uncle like put his foot down and was like, hell no. And he was like, we were like, why? He's like, what if that fucking boat go down? Like, we all gone, all of us, everybody. Everybody gone. He's like, somebody got to be home.
This nigga was concerned about the legacy. He's like, we need.
He was a designated survivor.
Right?
Yeah, we did. Serious about it. He was dead serious about it. And from that point on, a destination thing like that has never been brought up in the family. That shit 16 years ago.
One of the things I want to talk about is that we this is the new OGs. We are guys who are in our we're Generation Xers. We're in that part of our world. There's been a lot of changes of things since we were kids that used to be facts. I think it's important to recognize that in all types of science, facts can sometimes change as we learn more. There used to be 4 oceans. There were 4 oceans. There are now 5 oceans. The Southern Ocean is now a thing. It's in Antarctica. That brings the total to 5 that we've got now. So
is that because of global warming?
I think they've been batting it around for a while. National Geographic Society has recognized it. They're still pushing for the full international body to go with it. But I think just like the quality of knowing the size of the world, like the numbers of figuring out like by size, cubic meters, what we're going to call an ocean in comparison, it leaves too much kind of divvied off to the other oceans that are out there. So
because the Pacific Ocean is just massive. But
yeah,
I am embarrassed to say, we got the Atlantic, the Pacific, the Arctic, and what's the 4th?
The Indian.
Indian. As I said the 4th, Indian started popping in my head.
Yeah. The Indian Ocean is the other ocean, which is the one that unless you're over there, not everybody's thinking about. Not everybody's like, oh yeah, the Indian Ocean. So
you know what the Indian Ocean is? That plane disappeared there a few years back.
Right. Yeah, there used to also be 7 continents, and they are talking about there being an 8th continent now. That's another thing that's going on.
Are they dividing Asia?
No, they're not dividing Asia. The truth is that off the coast of, I think it's New Zealand, and between New Caledonia, there is a landmass that juts up from under the ocean, almost like Atlantis. That is the size of a continent. That's continent size. That is like just happens to be underwater, which means the motherfucker could have, you shift the world a little bit, you have a couple more frozen icebergs, and there's way more land than there would have been otherwise. And so it's a hidden continent that I think they're calling Zealandia, which sounds like it should have magic and some superheroes that come out of there.
I wonder.
That's I could grow some bomb weed on that motherfucker.
Dude, no, I'm thinking
the hydro is amazing.
How long? I mean, we have the technology to build on that now. How long before the Saudis start building fucking golf courses and shit on that motherfucker?
Yeah. Did you know witches in Salem weren't actually burned at the stake? Despite all the stories that we've been told about that, they weren't burned.
Really?
Nope. They were hung. They were definitely hung. They had trials. They hung them. They didn't burn. Now, European witches were burned at the stake. That was a thing that happened. We just carried that over here. We're just like, yeah, we burn them here too.
So what is that like? Just some Americans lying about some shit like, we do. We burn our witches at the stake. How do you handle yours? Oh yeah, we burn
It's
them
a
too.
cultural thing.
Yeah,
they got over here and got lazy.
We burn them too.
We ain't got to put the stake out. Let's just hang it in, set fire to it. Let's just.
I know. Americans back home like, no, we don't burn them. We're not fucking savages, but don't just tell them we burn them because they're crazy about it over there. Just tell them we do it.
And one of the other things before I jump onto our last topics of the day is that we've got more than 5 senses, right? Is that a thing that we're aware of? There's a bunch more.
How we keep just adding new shit, man?
We get smarter. That's what happens. We start
right because they let more diverse people study the shit.
What's the fifth sense?
Here's another one. Proprioception includes the sense of movement and position of our limbs and muscles. For example, proprioception enables a person to touch their finger to the tip of their nose even with their eyes closed. It enables a person to climb steps without looking at each one. People with poor proprioception may be clumsy and uncoordinated. So there's an example of another sense that we've got. The ability to know this is my nose without having to see a mirror or be able to do it that way.
How many more are there?
There's a bundle of them, man. You just gotta if you go
21.
Yeah, there's something crazy that they've discovered so far that all function in a bunch of different ways, which is pretty wild.
So
maybe that's why some people are smarter.
It's possible. I mean, when being more sensory perceptive, like when it comes to whenever I get sick and people are like, well, have you been eating anything? What's been, what can you trace it back? And I'm like, I got no fucking idea. Whatever that sense is where people are just like, I don't feel good. It must have been the thing inside this one thing that I ate. I don't have, that's not some shit I know how to do. I don't have any clue what the one thing might have been. If I ate some shit, I'm just like, I don't know, something I ate got me sick. I ate the same shit all the time.
Because you eat really specific shit.
Yeah, but I don't know if there's
you'll be able to narrow it down. I do know, that's so weird because I've gotten food poisoning 2-3 years ago.
Yeah,
and I was identifying that shit like it was in the lineup.
Yeah, I'm not great at that. The only time I've ever been good is I messed up when I got some late night Subway and I got the seafood sub. Too late into the evening. Yeah, I just wasn't even thinking. I just wanted it. Wasn't even thinking. Yeah, I was way young. This is early 20s, by the way. So that's just. I was also a rookie. So yeah, I was far from it, but I definitely knew that time. I knew that it was that got me sick. It was pretty obvious that there was something else that could have caused it. Last thing I want to get into before we get out of here, there was a dog that was in a car accident. It wasn't driving the car; it just happened to be in it. But it was in a car accident. Got ejected from the car. And they found it a few days later herding sheep. That was
wow.
I mean, that's what the dog's job was. The dog wasn't a sheep herder in its actual own, in its home.
But that's what its breed does.
But that's what its breed does.
Got out of the car and was like, "Oh my God, I'm in heaven." Started doing the job he didn't even have.
Oh my God, that's how people die, they come back, they say they went to heaven, they saw a bright light. That dog is going back and telling all the other dogs, nigga, I was gone. I was in heaven. It was sheep everywhere. I was telling these niggas where to go. They was going. And then it's like, I heard these motherfuckers say, there he goes. and they snatched me and they brought me back. Remember?
Now I'm back in this fucking living room place again. This is crazy. I got to get put on a leash to go outside. This is bullshit.
He's like, yeah. I was like, it felt like 2 or 3 days. I don't know. I'm a dog. I can't tell time. It was amazing.
I think it was like 6 months. I don't know. It was either 2 days or 6 months.
It was crazy, man. And then they snatched me back, and I'm here. But I'm telling you, it was real. It was real.
XL, what do you got? What do you got going on? What's up?
Oh, damn, we don't
what's
got
up?
time to talk about Jeffrey Toobin. Okay, never mind.
Yeah, what do you want to say about Jeffrey Toobin? We got a few minutes. Jeffrey Toobin is back. My man got caught masturbating on CNN. He was, in the early days of the Zoom world where people were, it was way wild.
He was the first casualty.
He was the first guy to go down having his dick out on Zoom.
And I can't remember. Oh man, I always like trying to credit comics for the joke, but somebody said, because this happened like 8 months into the fucking pandemic. Someone's like, I can't believe this didn't happen sooner.
Right.
Hey, real quick, I just want to read.
You guys all have your pants on, right?
I do.
Good.
I have mine on.
I got no shorts, but yeah.
But our neighbor is here because her floor is getting done. So
right.
Real quick, I want y'all to pay close attention. Everybody who's listening and everybody who's watching, pay close attention to the things that are getting shut down in the government. And they're getting shut down for a reason. And that's because Trump was a Russian agent. He has given them access to everything. And they're going to have to wholly rebuild this whole situation to make it work right like it's supposed to.
Yeah, you're not missing on that. And on that note, we are going to end this one. XL, where you at this week? What you got going on? What's happening with you?
I'm in Lamont tonight. I'm in Lamont tonight at a spot. Fuck, I can't remember. It's downtown Lamont. I can't even remember the name. Tomorrow I'm at Don't Tell, Lincoln Park.
Oh, hell yeah.
Comedy, Lincoln Park. And then next Tuesday, I'm at North Bar for Shady Babies. And then I got some other shit coming up. But then we'll talk about that next week. Look me up at XL Comedy to check out all that stuff. See you in about 2 hours in Lamont, Illinois.
Rob, where you at, man? What you got going on?
Check out my comedy special, Lockdown. Check out the Combs Code, that's for cryptocurrency. Catch me on all social media at Robert_L_Hines.
Nice.
Thank you for the opportunity.
We got Funnier by the Lake coming up for me on the 18th. That's going to be in Cary, Illinois. I'm actually headlining a show at Windsor Pizza in Loves Park on July 10th, so you can start getting your way out to that if you can figure it out if you're in the area. Find more shows, more updates on me at Mocha_Jesus on Twitter and Instagram. Get to the pod at New OGs Pod on Twitter and Instagram. Go over to People of Comedy on People of Comedy Network and People of Comedy on Instagram and Twitter. Catch us back here next Friday for another Fly episode, 4 p.m. Yes, sir, James.
You guys are all talking about shows you guys have
what you got going on, James?
Which is fantastic.
What you got happening, baby?
I can't say anything official yet, but about 2 hours before the show started, I did get off the phone with a certain bar in Wicker Park that I'm very familiar with. So stay tuned for some July stuff.
Oh, man, I may have to stand up twice for that one.
You may have to stand up.
Stand up square!
That's correct. So stay tuned for updates on that.
Catch us next Friday. We might have more news. See you at 4 o'clock. That's what's up.
Pow, pow.
Whole lot of niggas changed since we came up. They can try to steal the moves, but they ain't us. Think you gang, but nigga, you a stranger. Bitches wanna fuck, but nigga, you can't blame us. You can't. Bitch, you better play your rules.